My guest speaker today is Reverend George Perry. He's the pastor for St. Frederick's Baptist Church here in Marble Falls, historic church, if you don't know. Anyways, he's going to talk to us today about the new African American Museum at St. Frederick's. And also, I think he's going to tell us a little bit about the Juneteenth celebration this weekend. I know Reverend we're both on the board that falls on the Colorado Museum. I just recently became a member of that board, but that's where I first met him. And then we have, I don't know if you may say this or not, we have a goat dealing business together. So anyways, that's what makes us comrades here. So Reverend, I'll turn it over to you. Appreciate you having me here. Thank you.
I want to say morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I brought pamphlets if you would like one, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about is in this pamphlet. I just want to start off by saying that this museum was put together basically on a couple of good ideas that I believe that was important. Number one, that Black history isn't taught much anymore, and that we need to always know where we come from in order to have a better life. So the museum was put together, and it goes all the way back, starting with the church. St. Frederick's Church was put together by a slave lady, Miss Dicey Yett. She was a slave. She worked right here at the Roper House, and she put it together there. Now, when this started out, it started out as a school. And as it developed over the years, St. John missionary out of Austin came up to help form us as a church. So that is where we started from, coming up, trying to educate everybody, knowing that with that being basically started by slaves, and trying to get people to work together as they did back then. We have so much separation right now, but to let our young folks know and understand that we're all one. We work together even from the beginning. When they talk about the Underground Railroad, they have to understand who ran that railroad. You know, it wasn't the African American, it was the Caucasians. It was them that put the blankets on the clothesline that told us which way to go. With that, the communication through the fields, the songs that we sing, all meant something. The country songs that we sing now, what's that one, Don't Take the Girl? I'm pretty sure everybody done heard that one and understand that. But realizing, and even with that, all of the African American songs that were sung was a message. Singing in the field, slave masters thought everybody was happy, doing a good job, but they was actually communicating with one another. And even on the history basis, to think about nowadays, you see all these little fancy hairdos that people just, it looks good, so they do it. But that was actually what I call a telephone line. Every hairdo meant something. And that is what we're trying to get people to understand. You heard about the cornrows. They got the braids they call the cornrows. Actually, that was braids that the slaves put in their hair and put corn to the base of the scalp so that when they got transported somewhere else, they had seeds that they was able to take out of their hair, replant, so they can have something to eat. So, and then that is one of the things. So when you come to the museum, you will see the timeline of where the church started, the different people in town that helped St. Frederick's get up to where they are today. So within that timeline, and then you'll see the blanket that is one big blanket, but understand that that one big blanket there with many blankets that different people had that told you go through the water. You heard the song Wade in the Water? That song was that when we got to a certain point, in order to get away from the dog, you got in the water because the dog couldn't smell it. Hush puppies that we like so much, with our catfish, that was actually a treat for the dogs. That when you drop the hush puppy, they just went crazy. They stopped to eat the hush puppy. So we was able to get down wherever we wanted to get. All of this is mentioned there. A lot of stuff that is going on that a lot of folks have no idea of. We're just trying to educate everybody, about what had happened, what's going on, how St. Frederick started. Yes, one of the, I think the only oldest church older than us is First Baptist on the hill. But that one, we're the second oldest. I'm still striving, still trying to feed people. We haven't drifted far from what was going on at the beginning. And I like it that way because it's all about helping somebody. So we're small, but we still go out, feed the community because togetherness is what it's all about. And they mentioned we got Juneteenth coming. Juneteenth is a part of what the museum is trying to educate, to help people know and understand, Juneteenth and what happened and what is going on to get us to this point. Knowing that now, if I remember right, 21, it's now a official holiday. It has been recognized, but it's been something that's been fought for so long. And even saying that with, telling our children, you can be somebody, but you have to stand for something. And because if we don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So all of this, and I invite you all to come over, please. Walk through, ask questions. The first iron, curling iron, is all there. And to let our children know the red lights, the curling iron, the hair grease, a lot of this stuff, peanut butter, was all put together and invented by African Americans. It's just that they didn't have the mindset at that time to hold on to things and to see them through. So great big learning experience. So everybody will know history. Yes, sir.
Can you talk about Freetown and cemetery, what's going on now?
Greentown Cemetery is well, it's being cleaned up, and we're getting the history put together on it. Have you heard the phrase sundown town? Sundown town. Llano was a sundown town. Briggs was a sundown town. What that means is any African American that was caught in them towns come sundown, got hung. So Stringtown is where those from Briggs moved over, and the little houses, and they called it Stringtown because the houses that they had was in a straight line, and the cemetery was behind the houses. That is where they stayed. I don't have a whole lot on it right now because we're still in the process of trying to get everything put back together and brought back up so people can visit. So that is the beauty behind, that is that. And then, like I say, it's part of history. I know some people may frown, some have a hard time, but I don't frown on none of it because it was history. It's the way things were. Even come down, and you mentioned that, and part of that is that we have a couple of balls and chains. Nowadays we call our wife ball and chain because she keeps us tied down and in place. But I have an actual set of ball and chains there at that museum. One's a single ball, the other's a double ball. So when people tried to escape, they had that tied around their ankle to carry around. Even though I got some people that tell me to hush up, don't bring it out, but it's part of history. Majority, matter of fact, all of the African Americans in Marble Falls from day one actually carried and still carry the name of the slave master. So everybody that was originally here got the owner's last name. And whether they was here in Marble Falls at the drugstore or in Burnett, they all had the master's last name. And all of that, I have the records. I'm not just telling you something that I done researched and believed and seen. I'm telling you, I have the actual documents, the actual cards that says who belonged to what family. The cemetery, we have that even at the museum. The top half of that cemetery belongs to St. Frederick's Church. The bottom half is full of prisoners and slaves, unmarked graves. It wasn't important to mark the grave, just to know it was there and they was put there. Now, all of them come from Granite Mountain. That group of men cut the rock, put it on the rail, and shipped it to Austin to build the Capitol. That's where all of that rock comes from. And to know that today we have a voice, we can stand, and somebody will listen. And to our story, we hear what we have to say, our side, before any action is a big plus. Share you a real quick story about a young lady that babysit. and did a beautiful job. The family had no problem out of her taking care of her kid, the kid. The evening she left and she was headed home, somebody snuck through the back door, killed the kids, but she got the blame. And they tracked her down. And when they found her up around Buda, just this side of Santone. They hung her on the spot for the killing of the kids. And at the same time that they was hanging her, the man that killed the kids was here in Marble Falls confessing. And this is one that I really had to dig and call San Antonio to get the story, the newspaper article that we have there, because they didn't want to hear nothing she had to say. So all of this is about knowledge. All of this is about working together as one. With the string town, the cemeteries, the knowledge within the community, knowing and that we can all right now walk up and down the street together, have a conversation, and be okay. Tell you about me. The reason this is so important and I love this so much is because I grew up in Georgetown. And there was a little store that I loved to go to, buy my little BB guns. But when I hit the sidewalk and a Caucasian man or woman was coming toward me, I had to step off the sidewalk, down my head, and wait till they passed. I could not have eye contact. I could not say anything. Matter of fact, right there on the square where the store was a famous tree they called the hanging tree. And it stood there for years. One day lightning struck it and there was a party because it was gone. But it was a part of history. So the museum is there for all to learn. When you come there, you will feel nothing but love and respect, because like our Father, we don't see color. He sees red. That's all I see. Everybody's red. We're covered in his blood. And we're here to educate and to help one another in all the things that we do. Did I cover everything? We have any questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But you also have an AA meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Well, not at the church, but yes, ma'am. I lead AA.
You do have things to help to get the community out.
Yes, ma'am. And that's what I was saying earlier. I didn't go into that, that kind of detail, from the beginning, family was helping families. We're still doing that today. So yes, diapers, right now, Convoy of Hope sent me a bunch of canned goods, chips, goldfish that we're passing out to needy families. I don't mind being the hub to that because that says that I care, that I'm trying to help somebody. So yes, and all that, we're still feeding those that have alcoholic problem, drug problem. I lead classes on that, trying to help people out of their addiction. all of this is to educate and show somebody you can have a better life. So yes, and police call me at midnight, and now go open up and give them whatever I have. Everything that I get and have, it's all free. I get furniture from different folks. I put it on the porch. It's free. I don't sell anything. I have a store that sends me food every Friday. I take what I need and the rest stays on the porch and people come and get it. Right now, I can say I have about 20, 25 families that stands on that porch every Friday at 2:00. They help unload the truck. They wait till I get what I need for my kitchen and they take the rest. All free. Helping someone. So all that we do, we're doing for him. The museum is out to help. Educate somebody. It's there if they want. You know, we can't make nobody accept what we have, but we can offer. Yes.
What are the hours at the museum?
The hours right now are 11 to 2 for the museum, and Saturdays she's got it set up for tour groups. But I tell everybody, I know it's hard to get there within them hours. So if you drive up and you see my car, stop. I'll open the door. I have no set hours. And I'll be more than happy when I'm there to open the doors and let any or all go through and see what we have. In order to keep the museum going, you know, we do have fundraisers. We do have mugs and T-shirts there with different sayings on, just so that we can pay PEC. You know, PEC wants something every once in a while. But to keep the bills paid, we do have T-shirts, cups and stuff there. And some folks will just walk in and just leave us a donation. We appreciate that. It's not to line our pockets, but to pay the bills and to keep things going.
Those hours from Saturday or through the week?
That's through the week. 11 to 2 is through the week, Monday through Friday. And Saturdays you can call. And even like during the weekend, if you see me there, I'll open. Like I said, I have no set hours when I'm there. But Sister Jackson is the one that does a lot of the touring when I'm out doing something else. And she's 11 to 2. But I'm always there around. So if you can't make it at that hour, you know, show up anytime. And I'll be more than happy to help you through. But it's 11 to 2 from Monday to Friday. We will extend it an hour or two. We're doing our best to run side by side with the Falls of the Colorado Museum. So if they extend, we're going to extend. Because I look at us as brothers and sisters in the museum and in Christ. Any other questions?
It's a great project.
All right, thank you.